Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. My name's Jared. Today we're going to be doing some more work on the 180SX. I've got a front brake upgrade to do as at the moment this does have the SR20 turbo calipers because it is originally a CA, but the brakes on here are not as good as the S15 calipers which I have on my other car. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've got a pair of 300ZX / S15 R33 GTST calipers. They're all pretty much the same thing. I bought these two from Rock Auto, and as you can see, first off, one says Nissan, one doesn't say really anything, which was kind of a bit annoying. I ordered a left and a right one. Obviously there's two boxes here, and the right one come refurbished from an original Nissan caliper, and the other one looks like a remanufactured one. They are identical, but as you can see the color's different, and one's got the logo and one doesn't, which is a bit annoying. One good thing about them is they do come with new hardware, so you got a new retaining clip, new pin. Next I went and got some Elig brake pads. I use these ones on the Civic and I'm really happy with how they feel and the performance. The initial bite's really good and they don't degrade with heat at all. And this model's for WRX and Silvia, 99 to 2002. Even though these are 300ZX caliper, these S15 pads still work and they're a little bit easier to find in Australia. And the other reason I went for the S15 pads is because I've got some S15 front brake discs here. So these are a T2 slotted rotor from DBA, and I've already previously re-drilled these for 4-stud, as my car is still 4-stud at the moment, and I don't really have plans to go 5-stud because then I would have to sell these wheels and get a different one, and I'm quite fine with these ones at the moment. There are videos online on how to convert your rotors from 5 to 4 or 4 to 5 as well. And then to finish things off, I went and got some Gktech brake lines. These are also important because when you're converting from S13 calipers to S15 calipers, they do have a different fitting. So as you can see here, the fitting on these calipers here have a male mating surface in the middle, opposed to the copper washer banjo that the S13s use. So this end goes into our factory brake line, and then this end here threads into the caliper. So all of this stuff isn't too expensive. These are, I think, $150 each. The pads were $150 and the set of rotors was $150, and I got these on sale I think for $70. So all up you can do this whole conversion for about $600. You could probably do it cheaper if you bought some discs and used calipers together off of a car, and if they already had pads in it that would be cheaper, because these aren't a budget pad, these are a sport performance pad. And you could use the OEM S15 brake lines as well if you wanted to save a bit of money. To start off with, before I install these calipers, I want to paint them to make them look the same first off, and also I'm going to shave down this face for two reasons. First, because I want to make them both flat so I can install these Nissan decals on the face so they look the same. And the second is the downside with these calipers is you can see how thick they are. If you're running a low offset wheel, this face can interfere with the wheel. So what a lot of people do is actually grind down the front of the caliper to give them a bit more wheel clearance. So what I'm going to use is this etch primer. This one's black. It doesn't need to be black, but an etching primer, as this is bare metal, to make sure we get the best adhesion on our second coat so it doesn't flake off later. And again, just make sure that you got tape on all of your seals and the face of the fitting, the bleed screw on both of them. So what I got here is White Knight Rust Guard. The reason I choose this one is for the epoxy enamel. It's not just an enamel, it's also epoxy as well. So this makes the coating extra hard and more durable, which we want on these for when we're putting the wheels on and off, and it's going to last a lot longer. So we see durable finish and good adhesion. I found as well, if it's slightly contaminated, you still get a really good finish on this as well. So now we're just going to compare what's come off the car from what's going to go on the car. So starting off with the discs, these are an S13 turbo disc, so they are slightly bigger than what the CA disc is, and these are 280 mil in diameter, so they're not small. But then we go here. The S15 disc is also 280 mil, so there's no difference in terms of the diameter. If you compare the thickness, this is where the largest difference is. So the S15 we got about 28 mil, and on the S13 we got about 23 mil difference. And the old and the new in this case are both slotted rotors, so they're very much similar. Then we go to the pad. So this was the old S13 pad and the new S15 pad. If you line them up side by side, you can see actually the S13 pad is slightly longer, but the ends taper off like that. And then if we flip it over, you can see the S15 pad has a little bit more material on the bottom edge there because it's a little bit wider. Then we come over to the caliper. So this is the S13 turbo caliper with the single piston floating style compared to the S15 R33 GTST 300ZX style caliper, and this one has 4 pistons, and this one is built in 2 pieces and is not floating. So this one, total surface area with all of the pistons is larger than the single piston on here, so we have more clamping force on this caliper. So overall, most of the difference from this upgrade is going to come from the caliper, the clamping force, and a slightly larger friction area on the pad, but it also allows you to have more pad options because there's more choices for these calipers compared to the S13 turbo calipers. And with the thicker disc, it's going to give us better heat dissipation when they heat up as well. The other thing worth noting is you might need to upgrade your master cylinder for this upgrade. So as you saw, this one is a Bm54, and all of the lines for the brakes come out the right hand side. So there's a couple different designs of the Bm44. There's an ABS and non-ABS. These came, what I believe, in the R33 Skyline and 300ZX. And this one is a non-ABS because they all come from the same side. Whereas if you get an ABS one, there is some that come from the other side. And if you want to bolt this straight into your S13, you want to get the non-ABS version, because your lines will pretty much go straight in just with slight bending. Otherwise you'll have to remake the line onto the other side. And the reason you need this larger master is because the calipers have a larger surface area and require more volume to move compared to the old piston. If you use the old master cylinder on the new brakes, you'll find that you don't get any pedal engagement until about halfway or at the bottom. So I find the Bm44, which is what that master would have come with these calipers, is the best fit. Because this disc is a bit fatter, when you push it on, it does hit the brake shield. So you can keep this because it's the same diameter, but what you'll need to do is bend this back to give yourself a bit more clearance behind here. Because of where the brackets mount, when the caliper sits on here, the S15, the new caliper, this part is actually interfering. So we're gonna have to go and just cut up here and extend this line. And what I'm thinking was I might actually take this outer lip off as well, as it's preventing from bending this back quite a bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and fix whoever painted this orange before. I'm not sure why it's orange, but then we'll fix that up. When installing the brake line, you need to put the end on the caliper first if you're using the Gktech one, because this end is not swivel and only this one here has a swivel fitting. So if you put this one on first, you won't be able to turn that in to get it started, and I would actually suggest that you put the hose in the caliper before you install it on the car, like this, because trying to turn this whole hose is very difficult because it doesn't have a swivel end on that one as well. And they've also included this piece here, which goes here on your arm for your coilover bracket to hold the hose in place. So there we got the swivel fitting done up. We just need to tighten this with the clip. You will need the clip in place first before you can tighten that up so it stops it from spinning. Then we've got the support here with that. You might want to move, once we've got the wheel back on the car, move it left and right to see whether you've got enough room here or enough brake line. Because what you can do is pull that through like this or move it back, because that's going to depend where the brake line goes. If you have a lock kit on your car, this line is especially good because it's a little bit longer than the factory one, but you definitely need to put it to full lock, like all the way over here, and make sure you've pulled enough through, because as you see it sits there, it doesn't like slide in and out when you're driving. You might need to just pre-feed it so that you have enough there for when driving. In order to get the bracket off here that holds the brake line in, we're going to need to loosen the tension on the cable, because there's already, even though the handbrake's off, handbrake's down, there's still a little bit of tension on that. It's going to make it hard to remove. So to remove this, we just need to wiggle it forward. Off like that. Now we have access to this bolt here, which is a 10mm, which we just need to loosen off to the end here to take all the pressure off the handbrake. Pretty much the nut is all the way loose, and then obviously you're gonna drop that off so there's no tension now on that. So this is what I bought. This is a pitwork kit, but branded in Nissan branding, rebuild kit for 2 calipers. So it comes with some grease, you can see here, and it comes with some new dust boots, some piston seals, circlips, the rubber seal for the sliders, and even a little rubber cap for the bleed valve to do 2 calipers. As you can see here, this caliper, the dust boot is actually broken away and deteriorated. It doesn't come with new clips for the calipers. Next we're going to remove a 12mm bolt on the banjo here to remove that brake line. Then we can go ahead and remove the 17mm bolt on the top and the bottom of the caliper and lift this off. Then it'll make it easier to remove this bracket here, or this retaining clip for the handbrake. now I've got the parts painted from the calipers, I also went and threw on the Nissan logo as well. This is meant for the Z32 rear brakes, but because I don't have Z32 rear brakes, I just thought I'd put it on there just to make it look cool. So we're just going to reassemble the bolts and the sliders in here. And I was going to throw these pads in. I don't know what they are. They came on the car. They don't look too old, like there's quite a bit of material. But they're a little bit contaminated and there's a bit weird wear pattern on it. So I picked up these Intima pads just for the rear. Seeming as though we changed the front pads to something a little more aggressive, I figured should change the ones on the rear too. I got these, they were in stock from Elusive Racing. If you're wondering, they can get any pads you need if you're after them. So we're going to reassemble the calipers, put the pads in, then we can go ahead and put the calipers back on the car. So we got the handbrake cable and retainer clip back in, and the bolts done up, and I've tightened up the sliding pins. And then we just got to throw on the new brake line that we've got here, and you just got to make sure you use the banjo bolt that comes with the kit from Gktech. Now we're up to putting some fluid in the car. What I've bought is this Penrite brake fluid for racing, and this one's .4 plus, and the difference between this and the other one is these can handle up to 600 degrees of temperature. It is a lot more expensive than normal fluid, probably double the price. One bottle of this, which is a 500 ml, was $40, so you're looking at almost $80 just in fluid for your car. So we've just gone for a drive now. We're going to bed the brakes in, so we're going to do 5 stops from about 60-70 k's an hour to almost stopping, but letting off at about 10 kilometers per hour. This is just to get a few heat cycles into the brakes and mate the pad with the disc. We need to make sure we do this, otherwise soft applications we can end up with brakes squealing if they don't bed in properly. Feels pretty good. Pedal's definitely lower now, and I think that's just because it has more fluid to move before the brakes kick in. But I think that's better because before the brakes would engage quite high up on the pedal, so you didn't get that like gradual feel of the brakes coming on. They were kind of like just there straight away, which is a bit too touchy. Each cycle, the brakes are getting slowly better. Just to wrap up the video now, after taking the car for its drive, and I took it a little bit further after we bed the brakes in just to see how it feels. It is definitely different to how it felt before, with the pedal being a lot higher up. And if you're used to that higher pedal, you might want to go for a different master cylinder. I know you can still buy the Bm57s new, and a lot of people that do the conversion do buy them. So possibly instead of getting a Bm44, which is hard to find these days, particularly non-ABS ones, then possibly you're better off just to go with the Bm57. And in the future, I might even try that myself. In terms of the performance, there's definitely an improvement, but I would say for me, the limiting factor on the car is the tires. So you can only use so much brake until the tire just locks up. And I did go a little bit harder, and eventually, yeah, I did get the tire to lock up. So pretty much for me, if I want to get a bit more performance out of the car, I'm going to have to look at upgrading to a better tire in the future to get a bit more grip out of it. For the price point that I paid, about $1,000 to do everything, is it worth it? Maybe to the right person. Did it add a heap of performance? On a street car, probably not much. Probably the turbo S13 brakes are probably enough for on the street. But if you're going to go to the track, then possibly you want to go look at some other options. If you got some big sticky semi-slick tires, then definitely this is a good upgrade for you. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. And if not, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.